this section of the Senegalese fans literally broke down the barrier, and they started throwing chairs at the stewards. And these are stewards who are not known with being so physical and all of that.
Yeah,
and
they are not Ugandan.
I saw even the guy who was injured was kind of an old man.
No, he was a young guy. He was hit on the head.
Not the only guy. There were so many.
And he fainted, and he had to be stretched off the pitch, rushed to the ambulance and taken to the hospital. And I hope he's okay. But that's where the violence broke through. It took a lot of time for the military police, what I call the military police, to come in. And when they came in, they were just physical. They started, hitting the fans. The fans also retaliating. Then it became a mess. Now that was the action the other side. The action on the pitch was Papa Tho, the Senegal coach, calling off his players. Because he first went and spoke to Walid Regragui, the Moroccan head coach. I think they disagreed. And then he went to the referee. They disagreed. And then he called his players off the pitch. And I even shared a video on my ex showing him telling the players, guys, let's go. And so the difference there between that final not being played and that final ending was Sadio Mane, who of course made some. He actually reached out to some people. One of them was the French coach who was on the touchline. Claude Leroy. He also spoke to Alhaji Diouf, who is a former international, but is part of the Senegalese team management. And I think both of them told him the game should go on. So he then stands on the touchline, and you can hear him calling his players, his teammates, guys, come back. Then he runs back to the dressing room and calls them back. And so they all come back, and normalcy returns, and the penalties are awarded. And I think at first it was El Nesseri, the Moroccan forward, who plays for Fenerbahce now, who picked up the ball to take the penalty, but Brahim Diaz then got the ball. Diaz has been the one who's been, scoring goals for them. Diaz steps up and he decides to do a Panenka at that time, which, I mean,
I'm sure you thought maybe he was feeling sorry for the Senegalese at that point.
No,
didn't think so?
It was
okay.
to just put context to this. Morocco have not won the AFCON in 50 years, over 50 years. And Walid Regragui was under immense pressure. The fact that they reached the final, everyone in that stadium who was a Moroccan really knew they were going to win the AFCON. So that was a decisive moment. So for Brahim Diaz to show up and do a Panenka with a minute left of regulation time, and he knows if he scores, they win the title, was just the low of low moments.
Okay.
And you can see after he did that, Walid was angry. He actually was asking, what are you thinking?
All right.
How do you do that? So anyway.
Again, just to, because it's going. This is just to also catch up to that point before you get into extra time and Senegal and whatever they do. I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was the right call.
I think it was the right call.
It was the right call.
Even though it was extreme,
it's either a penalty or not. Like whatever. The same way I believe Senegal's goal shouldn't have been cancelled. Goals change games. At that point, you give Senegal the 1-0, that game is over. That game is over. It should have been a penalty.
Or if Morocco equalize, they and get a penalty. They probably don't walk off the pitch.
They don't walk. It should have been a penalty. I thought it's a shame. It was very, very disgusting. Honestly, in my opinion, what Senegal did, their manager, I don't, with you're the manager of the Senegalese national team, you're supposed to be the money in that situation. You're supposed to be the Sadio Mane in that situation. In that moment, Sadio Mane behaved like he was the manager of the team, and that Tho or Thiao or whatever is pronounced behaved like he was a fan. You understand what I mean? And I understand, because most of us who are rooting for Senegal, I've seen people say, oh, what he did, you stood up to injustice and all that. Nonsense. Never should you at any one point lose your control to that extent. That is not the solution. Sadio Mane, people say Sadio Mane saved African football. Of course, this competition.
No, he just saved the tournament, actually.
Whether the tournament and all that.
Not the tournament, the final as a spectacle was nothing until that tournament.
That struggles outside Africa. I mean, the Jamie Carragher's believe it's, I don't know. I think Sadio Mane saved Senegal. I'm very sure if Senegal hadn't walked back on, they wouldn't even be in Kampala in 2027. They would have deserved a ban of about 5 years, in my opinion.
The one thing for sure that is going to happen is bans are going to be effected.
But they would have been worse.
But Phill, I also want to say that in the heat of the moment, in football, some moments are you just let them slide. Like it
What
is
you
wrong.
mean?
Senegal did was not right. But even the coach explains it was the heat of the moment. And if you remember what I've been explaining, these things were building up.
Peter,
from the when the tournament started.
I totally get you.
So
the problem,
wrong,
you
but
see,
heat of the moment.
Peter, I totally get you.
For
example, even in Uganda, there are some laws that I think are stupid laws, but it's the law. The moment you start letting things pass because heat of the moment, if you go to the FIFA book, what does it say about a team walking off the pitch before the final whistle or without permission of the referee? The FIFA rules say that team has lost that game. That is what the rules say.
Yeah, but I was going to
Kati, Kastodamu, but no heat of the moment. Do you think that was the worst call in football?
No, it wasn't.
You cannot justify a team walking off a football game.
I'm just saying it was a heat of the moment. But also to add, the rules say that if a team walks off and it's for 15 minutes, then that game can't resume. If I'm not wrong,
they were within the window of 15 minutes.
Just about or more.
They were within
a
the
minute
window.
or more. Yeah. You understand? So that was also not followed.
No, they were within the window. Apparently.
Anyway, but I've put in my 2 cents. I think it was terrible. I understand it's heat of the moment, but we cannot. There are guidelines. There are things within which we have to operate. It was wrong.
Yes.
They deserve whatever ban comes at them. My point is, if they hadn't come back, I'm sure it was going to be minimum 5 years.
So
and FIFA would also have banned them. Because you can't play World Cup when you're banned. You can't play African qualifiers. But please go on. I think we're now at the same point.
What I think, though, is that I don't think it will be a sort of